What's up, guys? This is Yasin, and today we're going to be going over all the Asian WCQ tournaments. So I'm pretty sure it's over, like they've sent all their players to Worlds, or maybe not. I've got no freaking idea. I'm just saying random shit at this point. Pretty sure also Japan sends like the most amount of players from their country compared to like everyone else in the world, just because obviously they're the creators of the game, so it kind of makes sense. Or again, maybe I could be wrong there, but whatever, who cares? All of that is just trivial information. What really matters is that we're going to be going over the deck list as well as the tech choices, because some of them might actually translate to the TCG, and obviously it's always better to, kind of be ahead of the curve and already know what to be on the lookout for when we're going to be getting the Justice Hunter set in the TCG. And also, it might be relevant information right away because Duelist Advance is right around the corner. I mean, it's already out, I believe, at least as a sneak peek set. But yeah, we obviously have like Pure Vanquish Soul, Lunalight, and other pretty interesting decks at our disposal right now. Anyways, before we go any further, you already know the drill. Smash the like and subscribe button. It really motivates me a lot to keep making videos like these. And also shout outs to my Blue Eyes and Crystron spreadsheet. By the way, the third one is coming up real soon, so stay tuned. And also shout outs to my sponsors, Supreme Pro at tsx1.com. And make sure to use the coupon code YACIN10 for 10% off. And with that being said, let's get right into it. Okay, so the first WCQ that we're going to be going over will be Taiwan. And honestly, there's not much that really happened. It's only 6 rounds of Swiss and then top 8 single elimination, but you gotta have like an invite in order to even go to like this Taiwan tournament. So yeah, it's really rough, honestly, and the OCG is just a nightmare. And also they only send one player to Worlds, I think. Yeah, only the champion. Holy crap, this is so bad. You gotta do well at like your regionals, and then do well at like your other events, and then you get invited to this, and then if you don't literally win the first place, you're not going to Worlds. This is actually insane. No, it's even worse. Yeah, okay, so I think you gotta do well at a regional, and then you get invited here, maybe. If you win, you go to the Asia World Championship qualifier, and then you gotta win that one or something. It's actually insanity. So again, I'm so happy that I'm not in the OCG, but to be fair, it's not like I'm going to Worlds this year anyways, right? I'm garbage at the game, right? Imagine if it happens. Okay, yummy. So this is the second place, obviously, because Vanquish Soul won in this one, which is very interesting because we've got another tournament where the exact opposite happened. But yeah, Yummy is actually one of the only like non-K9 Vanquish Soul deck that is pretty much always on the same level almost as Vanquish Soul in terms of like how far it goes, but it doesn't really seem to like translate in terms of like sheer numbers. Like it's K9 Vanquish Soul almost has like tier 0 representation numbers. It's actually really concerning, but here it's 5 out of 8, which is a lot. It's anything that is above 50% usually can be kind of considered tier 0. The number that people like to use is 65%, but it's all subjective at this point, so who cares? But yeah, this deck list, I mean, nothing unique, no Widow Anchor, whatever. I mean, I think we're going to be seeing this quite a lot. Malice, I don't really care at all. There's nothing interesting other than the Crush Card Virus in the side deck. And this is actually a really interesting card that I wanted to go over because this is better than people think it is. Honestly, all the Virus Trap cards are just like pretty nice. And against the Vanquish Soul, it's particularly interesting because it's not a deck that really makes unbreakable boards or anything. And you can even Virus them going second, depending on the setup. And if it's a card like Full Force Virus, it's even better for you because they lose honestly a lot of things. If you use Crush Card, you're gonna make them lose all their monsters that have 1500 or more attack, if I recall correctly. So Raisin dies, Jiaolong dies, I think. I know that Holy Sue survives. Caesar Valius and Burger will die. And then all the K9s should die, if I recall correctly, except Lupus, I believe. I'm not sure, don't quote me on that. Let me double check. No, actually, yeah, all of them die, including Lupus. For some reason, Lupus actually has like the highest attack stat. I thought in my head it was the lowest. Kurikara also dies because it has 15. Nibiru dies. Phantasmate dies. That's interesting. Crush Card, obviously, is clearly designed for Vanquish Soul, and it's not difficult to, get it going. It's really just one Malice monster is a Crush Card target, and then you kind of just win the game. So if you're scared that your opponent is just gonna hand trap you to death or grind you out with so many, like so much card advantage, so many hand traps and stuff, then Crush Card might be the play for you. You can play it as a 1-of with Triple Tactic Thrust, because honestly, against Vanquish Soul, it's basically guaranteed that you get a hand trap. This deck plays the most amount of non-engine than, from like any other deck out there. It plays 2 in-archetype hand traps, which are Holy Sue as well as Izuna, so that's already 6. And then we've got Phantasme, Nibiru, Ash, Maxi, and sometimes we see other hand traps instead of like other choices on non-engine. So Obviously, it can be even more than that. But yeah, clearly a very dangerous deck. And the extra deck is, I mean, here it's not super unique, but there is the virus, code breaker, swordsman, whatever. It's a target for deck devastation virus if you want to play it, but I'm not seeing it here. But yeah, maybe Taiwan is kind of like up to something with, you know, crush card and stuff like that. Hopefully I see this more often. Nothing interesting here, and then, yeah, nothing interesting here either. This is the Japan Championship, and remember how Taiwan was won by Vanquish... What the hell happened? No. Taiwan was won by Vanquish Soul, and then Yummy got second, and in Japan, it's the exact opposite. Yummy won, and Vanquish Soul K9 got second, which is interesting. I think, yeah, the top 4 players are invited to the Worlds. So you see, Japan is way more generous in how many players they invite to Worlds compared to, like, everyone else. But at the same time, look at the amount of players. This is insanity. Because this is an invite-only tournament comprising of winners from shop qualifiers, ranking duels, and Duelist King Cup, which, from my understanding of things, it's pretty much like the NAWCQ or Euros, but obviously a little more, maybe a little harder to get there. So it doesn't look super easy to even go to this tournament. And then, even then, there's 1,500 players, and you gotta do super well here in order to, you know, advance the world. So it's not easy. But there are a lot of, like, super interesting deck lists here, and it's just a little unfortunate that they couldn't go to Worlds because the top 4, it's kind of boring when it's really just 2 K9 Vanquish Soul and 2 Yummy. And that's exactly what I meant when I said that Yummy is the only other deck after K9 Vanquish Soul that is always going super far. It's really impressive because in terms of raw numbers, there's not that many Yummy when you think about it. Like, K9 Vanquish Soul here in the top 32, I can count maybe like 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 out of 29, actually, because there's 3 missing deck lists. So that's, at the very least, 1/3 of the top 32. That is really just one single deck, which is kind of concerning. But yeah, anyways, I'm not going to go over, like, all the deck list. But yeah, this is the Yummy deck list. I mean, it's pretty boring. 17 hand shops. I already counted because I already went over this deck list. I saw it before, and it's nothing like, wow. It's really just like, okay, maybe, like, this guy, you know, he was able to win because, first of all, it was his day, and second, because he's good at piloting the deck, but it's not like he really has an edge by playing this deck list in particular. But still, I mean, Yummy is a very simple cookie-cutter deck. There's not, like, infinite ways to, like, build this deck. Obviously, everybody can kind of agree on the fact that, you know, Obedience Cooled and the Sky Striker cards are insane in this deck. The only consideration I personally have would be maybe playing Widow Anchor as a search target for Engage, and maybe playing 3 Engage, so that you can have, like, 5 outs to potentially Razor Detonator if it still exists. But if there's no Detonator around, then you really don't have to, like, max out on the Sky Striker card. So, honestly, nothing wrong with what the OCG players are doing necessarily with this deck list. I mean, obviously, it all depends on the environment. And there is a Camellia in the extra deck, which is so interesting. This card is still a V-Jump promo, if I recall correctly. We do not have access to it. Let me double check what it really does for you in this deck. It is a generic Link 2 monster. It just requires 2 effect monsters, which is interesting. Yeah, if you have like 3 or less spells in your grave, you can send a Sky Striker card from your deck to the grave. And if it's sent to the graveyard, you can target a monster upon control, special summon it to the field, and if you do, special send that monster to the graveyard, and shift control of this card's owner during the end phase of this turn, but it can only be special summoned once per turn, so yeah, in other words, it's kind of like only 1 effect per turn, only once that turn. But yeah, this allows you to like bridge any 2 random monsters into like a way to play the game, because then you can go, okay, like effect Foolish like Hornet, and then you make Kagari using this because it is a Sky Striker ace monster, and then you recycle back, and then you Synchro Summon using Kagari and a level 1 token monster. Yeah, it's really stupid. Yeah, you can Synchro Summon using like 0 tuners and a Link. It's really dumb, but yeah, this is Yu-Gi-Oh for you. Okay, so K9 Vanquish Soul, nothing interesting again. 41 card deck list, and then 2 Impulse and a Fire, I think Fire Attacker. I keep mixing up the names like Fire Attacker, Fire Engine. Yeah, and then Dark Ruler on the side. Yummy, nothing interesting, but just no Imperm in the main deck, siding the Imperm instead. Sky Striker, okay, so this deck list, it's really cool to see, but I don't think it's gonna translate to the TCG at all, because first of all, they have Camellia. And look, he's not playing any hand shops, he's not even playing like the Chummies or even Max C, which is kind of crazy. Obviously, I agree with not playing Ash, because the main reason why you're trying to play Ash in Yu-Gi-Oh! Is really just to like stop the Chummies. It's not even to like Ash the opponent necessarily, because you know, it is a once per turn hand shop and it doesn't really beat everything. Yeah, it's just, this deck feels like it lacks a little bit of juice, you know, a little bit of power. It feels a little too fair. Now, against like the mid-range decks, it's probably really good, but against the combo decks, it just gets annihilated because it doesn't play hand shops for the most part. I mean, it still plays like Psalms of the Kings and the Imperm, but it plays a huge amount of board breakers. So anything that is like realistic to beat, it can beat. But against Lunalight, for example, I mean, yeah, you can Surge the Kaiju, but that's about it. So, and it's not like your opponent will really let that happen easy. It's a little sus. Yummy again, I don't care. Oh, goes and match and Rivalry in the side. Wow, I haven't seen this too often. Okay, yeah, not playing it this time. And this is where we get into the really spicy part. So first of all, shoutouts to South Korea, the GOATs. But shoutouts to this guy right here, Kim Ju-un with K9 Crystron, and also Park Ji-in, again with K9 Crystron. The trend is that in Korea, people have been playing really interesting decks, whereas in Japan, it's really just the same decks over and over when you really think about it. It's a lot of Yummy, yeah, like at least 4 or 5. Yeah, with like one random Primite Blue Eyes, which is actually crazy because it has a terrible Dragon Tail matchup. And I don't think that Blue Eyes, yeah, it also has like a bad Yummy matchup. Yeah, no, Blue Eyes is a bad meta call, honestly, I'm not gonna lie. So it's kind of crazy to see one in the top 32. But yeah, you see a lot of Yummy, a lot of Vanquish Soul, a couple of Malice as well, and like some of these like random decks every now and then, like Dragon Tail, whatever, which is like, it has like showed itself to be like the worst out of the top 3 decks from the what's his face, Justice Hunters. But in Korea, we're seeing a lot of like different decks. So we're seeing K9 Crystron twice, and we're also seeing Millennium K9, which I've never seen anywhere, as well as Millennium Fiendsmith Snake Eye. So 4 unique decks in the top 8. And only the winner, I believe, is going to Worlds. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, so only... That's crazy, man. Someone's going to Worlds with Crystron. Let's freaking go. Best deck. Yo, check out my Crystron spreadsheet, honestly. I'm pretty sure the guy actually... maybe not, because this is K9. But still, I will be updating my Crystron spreadsheet once we get the K9 cards, or once we're about to get them. The one weird thing that I keep seeing is only 2 Izuna. I don't know why, because it is a hand shop, so honestly, I would kind of try to max it out of 3. Maybe I understand the logic, but only, like, 2 Nibiru also, I don't really like this card all too much. I don't really think it has a lot of good matchups. Like, it's not really good against Vanquish Soul or yeah, anything, really. I mean, it's bad against Yummy because they can just... I mean, it's not bad against Yummy, but yeah, it's not good either. So, I don't know. I'm not a really big fan. And then, yeah, everything else kind of makes a lot of sense. It feels really unorthodox to see only 1 Smiger, and also no Citri, no Thistvern. No, none of that. It's a really weird deck list, but obviously, I mean, they're all like that, and it still does make sense. And then, yeah, that Scrapper Cycler, yeah. Obviously, no Prasiro this time. You really don't need it at all. So, yeah, I mean, it's a deck that just makes a lot of disruptions, but it plays, like, really different from, you know, the deck list that we're all used to, you know, like, you know, like the standard Crystron deck that exists right now. And yeah, again, a huge amount of non-engine as well. You know, 2 Izuna, 2 Nibiru, and then 3 Fua, 3 Ash, 2 Maxi, and then 3 Droplets. So 2, 4, 7, 10, 12, 15. It's not even that much. Oh, 17, yeah, because of 2 Callbys. So yeah, technically you can play 17 hand shops if you really want to, but I guess that's up to you. And then the Quick Play K9 spell card. Honestly, I don't know if that's really a necessity. And Chaotic Elements, I also don't know if you really need to play that, but if Droll is popular once we get Justice Hunters, most likely this card will be cut, because what the hell are you doing with this? I don't know, you know? Yeah, I still think that's a cool deck list. Citing the 30 Izuna, so yeah, maybe he like even thought about it. Again, if you just feel like you need more turn 0 interactions, you can just replace Izuna with the Chaotic Elements. That way you play like a ET non-engine, and yeah, I mean, you just lose less often going second, but at the same time, like this is also like a board breaker going second if you play against like Raziel, for example. The Graveyard effect is insane. And also 2 Case, I believe. Yeah, so that's X First Liberation. This is Case that searches a monster. I don't know, maybe I would just play 1 copy of this. I'm not sure, honestly. I really have to, like, test, like, in-depth myself. Because I know the combos, I just don't really know, like, the ratios for, you know, which cards are win mores and stuff. X First Liberation is, like, 2 interruptions on its own, if I recall correctly, because it destroys a card and then it makes Werewolf, which looks at the hand and banishes a card randomly. Or maybe it doesn't look at the hand, I forgot, but whatever, who cares. And yeah, nothing here. Malice, who cares? Nothing interesting. Millennium K9 is very interesting. So I have actually seen people play the Shield. What the heck? Okay. in K9 just because it's a level 5 blank extender. But obviously, you can search it out with Sengenjin and Golem that gets you your Waju Temple. So everything just leads to like the same thing. And obviously, with these bodies, you can start making, you know, Snake Eyes Doom Dragon and Zombie Vampire, and that can mail your stuff and just you know, get the ball going. So honestly, it's a cool engine. But again, my main issue with Millennium K9 is that it doesn't take, you know, full advantage of what I personally believe to be one of the best mechanics in the history of Yu-Gi-Oh, which is the normal summon. If your deck doesn't have a strong normal summon that applies a huge amount of pressure, it just doesn't feel like it's good enough. And that's the thing about Millennium K9 or K9 in general, whatever. It doesn't do much with its normal summon, whereas Vanquish Soul, it has like dangerous normal summons. It has Mad Love and Raisin, and even if you draw both, you get like normal summon one and then special summon the other with the Link one, so it doesn't really conflict at any moment. So yeah, that's my problem. If anyone can fix this and make it so that you have like a strong normal summon that even like potentially the K9 portion of the deck can bridge into, that would be fantastic, and I think that would really push the deck to the next level. But as it currently stands, I don't really believe in this deck all too much, just because of how people have built it, not really because of its potential. I think it has a lot of potential, and obviously we've seen this with the K9 engine just doing so well in Vanquish Soul and stuff like that, and obviously in Crystron, which is clearly, without a shadow of a doubt, the best deck of all time. But yeah, speaking of the devil, this is K9 Crystron, a completely different deck list from the one that won, because we're seeing 45 cards this time, with a lot more cards. I mean, a lot more hand traps and a lot more non-engine, and also like some more K9 cards, but no extra Crystron cards. Actually, no, yeah, there is one Citri, and that's about it. So that's also really interesting. But yeah, we're seeing, I mean, only, wow, that's crazy. One Tristalos, one Citri, that is insane. But yeah, triple Izuna, and then, yeah, like 2 Chaotic Elements, and then the Clockwork Knight is super interesting, because you can send the continuous spell card, the Case of K9, with Clockwork Knight to search Clockwork Knight, and that can be a floodgate against a couple of decks. So against Yummy, it's completely insane, because if I recall correctly, they need a Light Beast monster, yeah, there you go, to make their Link 1 and stuff like that. So obviously if they're all machines, they can't do anything, and under Obedience Schooled, I don't believe they can summon anything other than Cross Sheep, which is the only one that can be, like, the only beast monster that they can play that doesn't require, like, hold on a second. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, you can really wipe the floor with them, yeah, with that. And also I remember why people played, Retaliating, no, Contact C. Yeah, I think it's Contact C. The high-level one, whatever, you get the point. But yeah, Clockwork Knight is very similar. It really just messes up Yummy and, obviously not Vanquish Soul, but yeah, Malice, Yummy, and something else. Whatever, I forgot. Whatever, it's gonna come back to me when I see it. But yeah, 45 cards, I think it's too much. But let's see how many non-engines. So 3, 6, 9, 11, 13, 14, and then, yeah, 17, 18, I guess. Yeah, whatever. It's really just, it's subjective at this point. But who cares? That's a cool deck list for sure. Anything that has Crystron cards in it is just automatically really sick. Okay, whatever, Yummy again, and then this is Millennium Snake Eye. Very interesting. Okay, holy crap, everything is in one. Jesus, that is insane. I have never seen a deck with so many one-ofs in my life. It feels like almost every... Actually, no, Tier Elements. Yo, that used to play so many one-ofs. It's like 25 one-ofs, and then like maybe some 2-ofs or 3-ofs. Maybe sometimes even 0 3-ofs, but... that is just on a whole other level. The only 3-of in this deck, I think, is Ash. That is absolute insanity. Oh, and Sengenjin. Yeah, there you go. Wow, what the hell? Okay, 1 Diabellstar, 1 Snake Eye Diabellstar, Flamberge, Ash, Pop, Oak, Luri, Lacrima, Engraver. Bro, what am I looking at? Yo, shoutouts to Rico. If you're watching this, shoutouts to you. This is the kind of thing that I'm sure he would have loved to play, because I mean, it's so confusing, but at the same time, it's actually so cool. It looks so unique and refreshing to play a deck like this, where your opponent never knows what to expect. But what really impresses me with this deck list is the fact that this freaking guy right here, this freaking Shad, this legend, managed to squeeze all of this in one 40-card deck list. Like, if this was a 45 or 50 card deck, I would have been less impressed. All these one-ofs, all these engines, like, bro, there's 3 different engines, Snake Eye, Millennium, Fiendsmith, and it's all in one 40-card deck. That's absolute insanity. But, and also, he's playing a decent amount of non-engine as well. It's not like he's playing, like, 5. You know, 2, 5, 6, 8, 10, 12, 15, 16, 17. He's playing 17 on engine. And he's playing a decent amount of starters as well. You know, 1, 2, 3. Hold on a second. Yeah, 3, 9. Oh, yeah, sorry. Golem is also a 3 of 9. And then 12, I think. Whatever, it's subjective. 13, 15. You gotta be kidding me. 16, 17. Bro! Low-key, his deck is actually gas. It's like 17 starters, 17 on engine. Let's try it out. It looks so freaking fun. And it feels like it's not gonna brick because it doesn't take too much to like really get one of the engines going at the very least, because Millennium guarantees Fiendsmith. Like even Fiendsmith can bridge into like Snake Eye stuff, potentially, kind of. If you mill like a Snake Eye, you can use a lot of bodies to make it like Princess and then revive back your Snake Eye Ash. There's a lot of cool things that you can do. But yeah, really cool deck list. And big shoutouts to Choi Jun Hyung, I butchered the name probably, for getting top 8 at the Korean WCQ with this very spicy deck list. This is definitely the highlight for me. Obviously, after like Crystron, because I have a sentimental, you know, place in my heart for those decks. But yeah, and then this is a yummy deck list with a Ghost Ghost Reaper in the side deck, which is really cool. And yeah, whatever. And then this is the Asian WCQ, so a lot of players, I think, a huge amount of them, and a lot of deck lists as well. And this was the one deck list that I wanted to show because it is completely different from what I have seen before. So this is pure K9, but it doesn't really make a lot of sense to me. Maybe I'm just stupid, but why the hell is there Artifact Mjolnir in this deck list? I don't get it. This is not a great card at all, because Artifact Mjolnir doesn't have any unique effects. Like, it's not like Artifact Lancia, where you can actually pitch it from the hand, or Artifact Vajra, where whenever your opponent attacks, like, it destroys your back row. No. It's like an actual artifact, just like Moral Tech and Scythe. But when it's destroyed, it doesn't really do anything that's particularly good. It just revives back an artifact monster from your grave, and it's a mandatory effect, just like Beagle Tech. So it's really sus. And then it locks you under only being able to special summon artifacts until the end of the next turn. So why the hell is there a mandatory card that can just destroy you if your opponent destroys it? Like, imagine your opponent goes like first action activate Duster and then destroy Artifact Mjolnir. This is one of the very few situations where you have like an artifact and you really don't want it to get destroyed. So I don't understand why this card is being played. I really don't get it. Like, obviously, I get that you can Xyz summon Artifact Durandal, so that is the one monster that you can summon, but the restriction of only being able to summon artifacts is terrible. If that wasn't a problem, then maybe this card would make sense, but maybe I'm just like, maybe there's something obvious that I'm not seeing, but I think Mjolnir is like one of the stupidest cards like you can play in this deck. I don't know. I don't see it. Obviously, you can like still special summon it like during the opponent's turn with other ways, but no, just no. Let's just not get there. But yeah, Link Slayer, Lava Golem, just so many. Just obviously, Lava Golem makes sense in this deck because you don't need your normal summon, and Lava Golem, you know, it's not like that it takes up your normal summon, but it prevents you from normal summoning the turn you use Lava Golem. So it's kind of sus. But yeah, apart from that, I mean, let's just scroll up. This had a lot of players, huh? 5 rounds of Swiss, top 8 single elimination. 45 players, never mind. This is the opposite of a big tournament. And yeah, it was held in Taiwan, but I think, yeah, from a lot of different countries or something. Yeah, Singapore, Hong Kong, Asian English ranking tournament. What the frick are they doing there? It's not even the same format. Whatever. Okay, a lot of decks. Ooh, Loonlight here. Let's check it out, because a lot of people are probably... Okay, this content isn't available right now, sorry. Yeah, but yeah, Martin Owen with K9 Crystron, shoutouts to you, freaking legend. Memento here, okay. DD Dynamite, you gotta be kidding me. Oh yeah, actually no, he was among like the worst. Yeah, never mind. Yeah, so he probably went like 05. Oh yeah, it's 5 rounds of Swiss. Yeah, okay, so yeah, okay, yeah, there you go. Because there's 45 players, so obviously some people are now playing super serious. Must not be nice, playing K9 Vanquish Soul, pretty much the best deck, and just going like 05. That's kind of unfortunate. But still, everyone who managed to make it to this tournament is already, like, pretty good at the game. It's just that I wouldn't really waste it by playing TD Dynamite just because the deck is shit. But yeah, Malice, whatever, nothing interesting here. Rivalry goes in the side. We're not seeing this in the TCG, but maybe we should. I don't know. Book of Eclipse, we have also not seen this in a while. And Regeki. This card's actually really good against Vanquish Soul, low-key, but the field spell is a problem, so just because of that, not really. Ghost Ogre might be safer. Vados, very interesting card. Super interesting. It's not a bad card at all. So you can actually use it against Vanquish Soul on the field spell. You can use it against Malice, obviously. It's just that, I don't know, like, it just doesn't really feel like it does all that much, unless, like, field spells are broken. I don't really think that this card is, like, super necessary, you know? So that's my problem with Vados, and obviously you're giving a monster to your opponent, but then again, if, like, you can out it easily, then it just destroys every monster on their field. And that's the really cool thing about Vados, so it can really play in your favor. And you can also, like, block your opponent's zones, potentially, in case, like, it might hurt. Because your opponent really doesn't want to link off of Vados for slightly obvious reasons. That would be extremely stupid. Okay, Lawnmowing, Dragon Tail branded, whatever. That's actually really interesting, I'm not gonna lie. I was gonna be like, boring, it's just another Despia deck. But no, actually, it's a Dragon Tail deck with a lot of spell cards. You don't see this every day, because it's a fusion deck that capitalizes off of using actual monsters in order to fuse. Well, to be fair, they're all like that, but this one's built different. But obviously, when you're playing, you know, more than 50% of your deck are spells and traps, then obviously the dynamic is a little different. And there's even hand traps and... Oh, okay. Alright, I mean, yeah, obviously, but, yeah, you know, whatever. Starve, Chaos, whatever. This card got crippled to oblivion in the TCG. And then this was the K9 deck that I showed before. Fiendsmith Yummy. Yeah, that's pretty interesting. With... Oh, okay, wow. With this card right here. Fiendsmith Sanct, if I recall correctly. Nothing interesting. Yummy, nothing interesting. Psalms of the King is in the side. Yeah, this card is pretty popular in Yummy, actually. I've seen it quite a while. I mean, quite a lot of times, but whatever. It's not a necessity. Vanquish Soul. Okay, yeah, I mean, it's very similar to, like, what we have in the TCG with, like, Impulse and Phantasme and stuff like that. Fire and Dark attributes, like I said, are the best. Earth is just not the best. And yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. So yeah, you guys let me know how you feel about all the deck lists and all the tech cards and the future of the TCG in the comment section below. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I'll see you guys very soon. Peace.